Today marks International Overdose Awareness Day to bring attention to the global epidemic.
Tommy Thompson, Janie Monroe, Jesse Hall, Lorena Nicholson, Daryl Thornton.
Tonight, the Tennessee Overdose Prevention Group honored those who have died from drug overdoses. Former addicts, family, and friends gathered to pay tribute to their loved ones. One mother who lost her son to an overdose says the OD epidemic is worse than ever.
I just don't remember this ever being this bad before, and I just hope something can be done. They need to understand it doesn't just affect someone else, it will eventually affect them.
And to provide for them.
Each family brought a pair of shoes to lay out in honor of their loved ones lost. International Overdose Awareness Day happens every year on August 31st. 20 people have died of a suspected overdose so far this month in Knox County. The District Attorney General's office says that brings the total for the year to 198. There were 293 suspected overdose deaths in Knox County in all of last year. And of course, there are resources if you or someone you know is struggling with opioid addiction. Organizations like the Tennessee Red Line and Metro Drug Coalition can give referrals. The Partnership for Drug-Free Kids has strategies and toolkits to help parents address substance use. Some frustrated